Levy, the paid lobbyist for BGI. He must be very proud of this accomplishment. While he was president, commissioner, and delegate, he facilitated the destruction of the madwoman. But he's not finished yet. He wants it dead. And he can't say he doesn't. And the rest of the BGI people can't say that either. It sounds like a lot of people don't care about our watersheds who are here tonight. But I think most of the voters do. I think most of the voters do. You can't
reinforce our rules that those who testify or comment before this Planning Commission be respectful of not only members of the Planning Commission but also other members of the audience. Delegate Levy is a respected member of this community, and frankly, he's a private citizen right now, representing a group. And I think it's inappropriate for members of this body to make any disparaging comments or remarks about Delegate Levy.
I want to say to you that I support what Mr. Richards said regarding disparaging remarks made against Commissioner Levy and also others by those who come. And it's my understanding that according to Robert's Rules of Orders, not just us, but the people who speak to us are also guided by it. And being disrespectful and it is not something that is condoned. And it may be that since the county attorney said that in the absence of a parliamentarian, it would be her. It has historically been the purview of the county attorney to help follow Robert's Rules of Order. Maybe we should do that since you don't seem ever to recognize that. Because people are being disrespected, and I find it offensive. Again,
I understand it's an open meeting, but there are certain rules of decorum that must be maintained. Now, you yourself would clearly understand that. We have listened patiently to all the speakers. We have showed great deference and respect for those speakers. We've allowed them to say just about anything they wanted, frankly. But I think there comes a time when they point out or an individual by name and make what I consider disparaging comments about that individual who was clearly not only a taxpayer in this county, but a distinguished member of this, who was elected 5 times to office by the citizens of this county. Whether or not he may be getting compensation is irrelevant. His expertise is certainly welcome on the part of, I'd say, the majority of this Planning Commission, at least on my part anyway. And I've known Mr. Levy for a number of years, probably 2 decades, and I think it's a disgrace for anyone to suggest anything but above-board activity by Mr. Levy. And I understand what you're going to say, and fine, you can say it, but a public hearing or an open meeting is not a license to make disparaging and unflattering comments about anyone, period.
And just to close, one of the things that I would like to suggest for the Planning Commission, again, I'm open to suggestions and I'm flexible. And I understand exactly how you feel about this, Mr. Richard. I'm willing to set aside time at the next meeting as an agenda item, a discussion of how much deference former commissioners should be given before Planning Commission meetings. If there's a dispute, I'm willing to set aside time at the next meeting for the Planning Commission to discuss how we're going to give deference to former officials. I'm fine with that. But I think that we have at least 15 more people who came here this evening with the expectation they would be able to share their views uninterrupted. And I think without regard to how
this discussion, just former commissioners have not been disparaged, but private citizens who come here. So we need to talk not just about former commissioners, but about the others who've been disparaged.
And Mr. Chairman, while we're doing that, we should probably ask counsel for a briefing on the First Amendment rights and the limits of free speech created by the Supreme Court of the United States. I would note, for people have any doubt about it, that a recent film which caused the deaths of American soldiers in the Middle East has not been taken down by the courts. The right of free speech in the United States is essentially unlimited, except by the limitations provided through litigation of slander and defamation. And if you have a problem with that, I'd suggest you find a way to litigate it. Until that time, you learn to live with criticism if you're in the public arena. I have not objected to the comments made about me, and Mr. Levy, I'm certain, has heard worse before. So let's get on with the subject of tonight's meeting.
Mr. Teiger, I'll accept no lecture from you on the First Amendment or defending this Constitution, and that's a fact. I've spent 30 years defending this Constitution, and I'll not take any comments from you and any lectures from you, period. Now, Mr. Chairman, if you're going to start to continue this meeting, fine, then continue it. But I'll take no lectures from you, Mr. Teiger, none.
Mr.
And
Edmonds.
don't use the death of soldiers or military people to make a point. Amen. Because you have an early right to do that. And don't ever do that to me again.
Mr. Edmonds, if you could call the next speaker.
Okay, point of order. This other matter that may at least be a part of a motion with respect to accepting or proposing. Even in the materials for tonight, it shows that we refer to that map as the tier map submitted by the Balanced Growth Initiative. All of us here on the Planning Commission understand that the Balanced Growth Initiative has at least one paid representative that has come before the Planning Commission. And during the September 25th meeting, I believe it was, Mr. Richard, at that time, there were some criticism leveled towards Mr. Levy. And Mr. Richard, you forcefully, I'm paraphrasing here, you basically indicated that Mr. Levy's integrity, motives, beliefs, and record, at least for that meeting, were above reproach and virtually unquestionable. And during that meeting, it seemed, at least, that your beliefs about Mr. Levy's reputation and his actions, whether it's for BGI or for the county, at least during that meeting, trumped the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. So, as you know, generally in our rules of practice and procedure, it requires that a member disclose ex parte contacts, and I'm not in any way suggesting there's some specific ex parte contacts, but I would like to hear for the record whether you'd be able to vote on whatever is presented this evening in a fair and objective manner on behalf of the county, or whether or not Mr. Levy's reputation, as you so described on September 24th, will in any way have an impact on your ability to be objective with regard to this issue.
Yeah.
Is that,
Chair.
I'm asking, I'm concerned.
is that a question?
Yeah, I have a comment. You often refer to Mr. Levy as a paid consultant. Most of the people in this room, including staff, are paid. I don't understand the relevance of your continuing to question whether he's a paid consultant. He's a resident of this county.
Mr. Bunker is a paid environmentalist. I mean, what's the difference? People are all happy.
That you continue to
And I understand that, but I mean, I said,
paid consultant when everybody in this room,
Every
including
congressman and
staff, are paid.
every man in Congress who conducts a meeting with a special interest group would be disparaged by your comments.
And individually, we have our questions or concerns about the people that come before here, and I'm entitled to have my concern about that. And I just raised a concern about whether Mr. Richards could be objective or not. All he has to do is answer the question.
Sure.
Mr. Chairman, I'm not sure I clearly understand your question. I believe I am objective. So to answer your question, I believe clearly I can be objective in any decision I make. I make decisions that are, I believe, in the best interest of the people of this county. I've served the people in this county for well over 6 years on this commission, as well as the other commissions, resident for 37 years. And I think, yes, I can, to answer your, I think you can put your concerns to rest that I can be objective. Now, we have different points of view. I mean, that's clearly. I think I've always made my points of view pretty are a matter of public record. So I don't think that's any secret. So to answer I will answer your question as a courtesy to you. Yes, I can be objective.
Thank you. Are there